Hi guys, welcome back to the Home and Homestead. If you're new, I'm Rebecca. Today we're going to be heading outside and doing some gardening. We'll be doing some container planting using my 5-tier GreenStalk vertical planters. So in 2 of the 5-tier planters, we'll be making a vegetable and herb garden. So we'll be planting some veggies and herbs. These will be great for just heading outside and snipping off a few items to add to a meal, or maybe to do some harvesting and have things to just kind of munch on. So let's head outside so we can do some planting on my GreenStalk 5-tier vertical planters for the season. Alright, so here I have my first 5-tier GreenStalk vertical planter all laid out. So I have the 5 different tiers on a tarp, so when I dump the soil in, it'll collect some of that mess and I can save that soil and reuse it. I also have my roller base with the drain plug, my top watering pan with the cover, as well as some GreenStalk and some smaller versions of trellises that I purchased off of Amazon. These will work nicely for when either the peppers or green beans that I'll be planting start to grow and vine out or expand. Then these will help to hold the branches while they're growing inside of the GreenStalk level. I also have these cute little carrot plugs that you can put in the center hole of each of the tier of your planter. That way when you're filling it with soil, it doesn't get all clogged up. And then speaking of soil, you'll want to use a nice high quality potting soil. I'll be using Happy Frog this year. This has worked well in the past. And what I like to do is when I find a quality potting soil that works well, I like to add some compost to it and reuse it year after year. This is my 2nd year with the GreenStalk. Last year I used a different brand of potting soil. I didn't care for it as much, so I'm going back to the Happy Frog. And we'll see how the GreenStalk does this year when we plant our veggies and herbs. So let's get to planting. Now in this first 5-tier GreenStalk, we'll be planting some peppers and parsley. I grew them from seed, and I have some labels here because I have a couple different varieties of peppers. I have jalapeno peppers and some orange pepperoncinis. And then for the parsley variety, I did a curly parsley. Here I have the first tier of the GreenStalk all filled with soil, and as you can see I filled it all the way to the top. And you're going to want to do that because once you water it, the soil is going to settle a bit. So let me just finish filling all the remainder of the tiers so we have all 5 of them filled with our potting soil. Now for reference for the potting soil, these are 2 cubic foot bags, so it takes about half to a third of a bag per tier. So I used just under 3 bags of the Happy Frog potting soil, and then once I plant and water, if there's any settling, I'll use some more of that. So I'd plan on about 3 bags of a 2 cubic foot potting soil, if that's the size bag that you purchase for doing a 5-tier GreenStalk. Now let's move on to planting. Now as each tier is being planted, I can start to assemble the GreenStalk. So I have the first level here planted. I have the watering disc that goes in. There are 6 holes here. You'll just line up the hole with each of the little planting areas. We'll take that carrot out and put the watering disc in. And now we can put the next tier of the GreenStalk on top. And now for the final tier of this 5-tier GreenStalk. This one has a slightly different style watering disc because it's the top one that you'll be eventually watering. And this is the top watering pan. It's a much larger style, so we'll take that carrot out. And we'll put this in. And this is the top reservoir that you'll be watering into, either with a watering can or a hose or bucket, however you like to water your GreenStalk. Just have it clip into each of the little grooves here. Then here we have the optional cover, so then you can slide the little leaf over, pour your water in to water your GreenStalk, and then you can close it so that debris and things do not get inside of the watering pan. So I'm going to put this 5-tier planter that we have all planted with peppers and parsley. I'm going to stick it into the shade and we can begin planting the next 5-tier planter. Now for this 5-tier planter, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're still going to add the soil like we did before all the way to the top. We'll use our little carrot plugs and we'll use our watering pan and cover on top. But we'll be using some seeds. I do seed saving, especially with my green beans. So I have some Kentucky Wonder green beans that I've been saving each year, and I'll be placing them into this 5-tier planter. And so once they're planted, I'm going to use the GreenStalk trellises that I showed earlier. That way, once the seeds germinate and start creating the plant, then the plant will have something to grab onto, and when it starts to vine out and get longer, then it can be supported with these trellis additions. So let's get planting this 5-tier planter as well. Now that I have all 5 of the tiers filled with the potting soil, I'm going to water everything nicely, and then I'm going to plant. I'm going to put 2 of the green bean seeds per well, and then I'll put the GreenStalk trellis into each of those wells, so that they will have some support once the green beans start to grow. So let's get to planting. Alright, here we have our 2 5-tier GreenStalks all planted out. So on the left we have our peppers and parsley, we have jalapeno peppers, pepperoni peppers, and parsley. We have the curly parsley variety. So those will be able to be enjoyed and harvested throughout the season. And to the right we have a full 5-tier GreenStalk filled with green bean seeds. And I ended up adding a 3rd seed, so I did 3 seeds per well for each of the tiers. And I also added the GreenStalk trellises so that once the green beans begin to grow and spread out, they'll have things to wrap onto and a structure to support them. So I hope you enjoyed spending time with me today where we did some gardening and container planting where we planted out our GreenStalk 5-tier vertical planters. This is a great way to use a small amount of space to grow a lot of produce or have a beautiful greenery or flower type of planting, and I've really been enjoying my GreenStalk planters. If you like more ideas or inspiration or other videos with gardening, I do have a playlist on the topic, so be sure to check that out. If you happen to be new to the channel or haven't done so yet, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button below and continue to watch my channel, The Home and Homestead, for some more homemade, homegrown, and home-style inspiration. Well, I hope that you're having a wonderful day. See you next time. Take care.